Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dal. On this channel, we're massive fans of WoW PvP. With our community, we regularly get to host 5v5 1v1 duels, watching classes compete against each other in the full arena glory. And one of my favorite parts about hosting these duels is just seeing some of the most incredible and surprising bursts out of so many different playstyles, especially when players get to utilize some of the more unconventional covenants, legendaries, or strategies. And in this video, I want to highlight some of the biggest, but also some of the cheesiest class bursts that you may run into and be surprised by in this season's arenas in the patch 9.2. But right before we get into this list PvP video, most of you guys watching these videos are still not subscribed. And if you're watching these videos anyway, you might as well subscribe as well as hit the bell, especially if you want to see more patch 9.2 content like this, as well as guides and regular updates, or potentially WoW future expansion announcements like something new getting ready to be announced on the April 19th. In no particular order, I want to start by highlighting elemental shamans. For a vast majority of LA shamans, there's no better covenant for PvP than the Necrolord, especially when you take into account the primordial wave interaction with a lava burst damage. And while some players have been able to make Night Fae work for certain arenas, the true hidden tech that no one expected would be the Kyrian Elemental Shaman, a covenant that's not super popular for elemental shamans generally, but in PvP it has some big potential value. Using the Vesper Totem Kyrian Legendary, you can overcharge the totem after consuming 3 healing or damage charges for a ton of arcane big burst damage. By itself, the totem and the legendary do plenty of damage, but where it becomes even more interesting is if the totem crits. This is mostly due to how elemental shamans synergize with critical strike damage, as all LA shamans crits do more damage than any other class in the game. This bonus damage effect also applies itself in PvP. This playstyle does require a lot of crit, so you'll be stacking as much crit on your PvP gear while configuring your soulbinds for the most amount of critical strike. This playstyle does take a small setup as well as a lot of coordination, but the damage payoff may just be worth it. The next playstyle on the list is the Night Fae Boomkin. I don't think there's anything in the World of Warcraft history that's ever going to top the burst of the Night Fae Druids at the very beginning of Shadowlands when they were dropping full moon on people's heads. But even though those days are past us, Incarnation and Convoke is still a very deadly combo. It's hard to tell what's the best legendary to synergize with this burst, but you could play the Boomkin Crit Legendary for more potential output. For this playstyle, you will be using the PvP talent of Starburst to burst and crowd control your target. When enemies come in contact with Starburst, they get knocked up in the air. But also, both the Druid and their allies can run over a friendly Starburst and will be orbiting around them, so you can bring the star closer to the enemy target. It's also worth mentioning that Starburst is astral damage, which means that the ability benefits from anything that amps up your nature or arcane damage. When a druid reaches lunar or solar eclipse, the eclipse empowers all of the corresponding damage. During the powerful cooldowns of Incarnation or Celestial Alignment, both eclipses are active, so abilities that do astral damage get to double dip into their effects. A druid is able to secretly starfall away from an enemy to set up a few starbursts, grab one and rush the enemy, knocking them up in the air, preventing them from moving but also preventing them from casting. And while they are flying, just blast them with Convoke and Incarnation. What could make this burst surprising is the stealth element. A druid is able to set up a starburst away from the enemy target, pop in stealth while in feral form, rush at the enemy and surprise them from stealth with all this burst, giving enemies less than a second to react. The next burst on this video is going to be the Affliction Warlock Drain build. When looking at the data from Season 2, Warlocks found themselves to be not the most popular range DPS for PvP, so many players would be surprised to face you already. but to know that Affliction actually has some hidden burst potential would also be surprising from a mostly dot-based spec. The talent of Inevitable Demise is what gives them a little bit of the punchy damage, especially when combined together with the legendary Claw of Underearth. Especially as a Nightfare Warlock with the Soul Rot ability, Soul Rot will allow you to hit multiple targets with your Drain, which can all benefit from your talent legendary combination. But what makes this burst even cheesier is not just the damage but also the healing. When paired together with the accrued Vitality Conduit, a Warlock can change their condition from a critical one to a healthy in just a single drain, letting Warlocks literally siphon life out of their targets. Sometimes these random moments of burst drain damage can be very brutal, especially when you're facing the Affliction Warlock heavy ticking dots to begin with. But watching a Warlock top themselves off in a moment's notice will definitely be surprising for many. The next burst on the list is going to be Healer, Priest, Carrion Burst. Now, most players don't expect high amounts of burst damage from a healer. Most healers are expected to simply heal, except for Restoration Shamans and the Earthquake, Earth Elemental Legendary. But most players don't expect high burst damage from a healer, except from a priest. The recent buffs to Holy Priest made them a lot more popular in PvP, where the recent buffs amped up their healing by 10% and damage by roughly 15%. Most of the priests have picked up the Venthyr Covenant as their choice for the aggressive option. However, the Kyrian Covenant can be far more powerful, even though it is a much riskier choice. Boon of the Ascended Kyrian Priest ability is a 3-minute cooldown, but it does transform your smite into a big, powerful blast that chunks out your enemy's health bar. This, combined together with the crowd control capability of a Holy Priest to be able to lock down an enemy for 4 seconds all to themselves, gives them an opportunity to burst somebody down if they don't expect it. I think no one is surprised when they get stun locked and bursted by a rogue, but to get stun locked and bursted by a Holy Priest will be a whole nother kind of ridiculous. And for our final class, I have just one question. What's worse than seeing a class burst you, but there's nothing you can do to stop them? The answer is the type of burst you can't see and you still cannot stop it. Very soon, rogues are going to be picking up their 2-piece and 4-piece tier sets, which will make assassination rogues extra deadly. The ability of Vendetta together with a Night Phase Sepsis is going to be incredibly scary to deal with. Then there is the Master Assassin 100% critical strike rogue legendary, which continues to reinforce the belief that rogues are overpowered when it comes to PvP. Will allow a rogue to bleed out their target and poison them with sepsis, slam him down into a kidney shot and shiv him right in the back, vanish from stealth while gaining 100% critical strike output. As long as you stay in stealth, you have a permanent 100% crit damage, with all of your dots literally liquefying the target in front of you. And out of all the bursts we mentioned in this video, I think that this one is truly the cheesiest. But I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this PvP list? Also, let me know if there's bursts that we might have missed, something that's even cheesier and even more broken that we should check out for the next time. If you guys enjoyed this video or found it informative, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I would very much appreciate it. And as always, in the description, we have a link to our Discord, and you guys should join our Discord, especially if you watch these videos regularly or ever want to hit me up directly. DMs are always open. Maybe you can let me know in a message what you thought about this video. Join our Discord to join our community. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see all of you in another one.